Hi YouTube, special day today. Yes, we're going to take all the information we've learned from steamengine.org and from basic tools you'll need to build your first coil, and we're going to actually build the coil. Now, before we begin, let me tell you what I'm using for a wire and why I chose this wire, all right? This is stainless steel 316L. I don't know if you can read that here or not. The reflections might be bugging you. There, I'll try to get it. 316L is a medical grade stainless steel wire that displays or exhibits variable resistance. Having variable resistance is the key to temperature control vaping. Regular Canthal wire, such as this, its resistance remains stable. So if you build a coil and it's a 0.35 resistance, as you vape it and as the coil heats up, it remains at 0.35 ohms resistance. Stainless steel, on the other hand, if you start with a 0.35 resistance coil and heat it up, it changes very quickly in resistance. That allows us to do temperature control vaping. So let's go ahead and build our coil, put it on the test stand, see what happens, and maybe we'll even talk more about temperature controlled vaping. For sure in the next video though. So let's dive down and have a look. So you can see that I've called up Steam Engine to take a look at what I'm going to need to do to build my coil. So I punched in 316L Elite stainless wire, round, 24 gauge, single coil, target resistance of 35 in that first column. And the second column, my tool around which I'm going to wrap the wire is going to be 3 millimeters. And you can see the result to the right. I'm going to have to make about 7 to 8 wraps. So that's a good starting place, I suppose. Okie dokie, so here's what we're starting with. We're starting with some 24 gauge 316L stainless steel wire right here. And we've got our flush cutters and we've got our tool around which we're going to wrap our coil. Now before, we just looked at the specs for our coil. So we're going to take this 3 millimeter rod, which I happen to have attached to a screwdriver handle. Just makes it a little more convenient to hold. And we're going to cut off a length. Now, how long? Well, long enough. It doesn't really matter too much. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this coil by just bending it around, just like that. I hope you can see this clearly. So all I've done is made a little loop in this wire, basically going away from me. So there's 1, 2 wraps, 3 wraps, 4 wraps, 5, 6, and 7. Now you may notice that I didn't pay too much attention about keeping these coils nice and tight. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to shove them together just like this. And here's where the pliers come in. I'm going to grab my needle nose pliers and I'm going to hold this end and give this end a tug just to tighten it up like that. Then I'm going to turn that coil around. I'm going to slide it off and put it on the other way just like that. And now I'm going to hold this end and I'm going to tug on the short end with the pliers. Just give them a good pull like that. I'm going to give them another little squish together. Now they're not touching, and that's the way I like it. I'm going to cut this off over here, and we are done. That's how you make a coil. Now look at that little baby, huh? Let me zoom in on that a little bit so you can get a good look. Put it right in the middle of the field there. So there's our really cool coil. It looks pretty good. It's nice and uniform. And it's got, I count along the top of the coil, when I make these. I know there are people who say, well, those are only half wraps on the end, but I just go with this, and it's just an easy way to see what's going on. Let me count the wraps. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wraps. There's 7 coils on top here. So that's how I do it. Now, is it right? Well, that's where this comes in. Here is the base to an RBA, rebuildable atomizer. Now, if you look at this little gizmo, this is really a 2-coil rig. What we have is positive and negative. You can tell them by the different colors. Gold, colored, and silver. So when you make a coil for this setup, you would put one of the legs in the silver one and one of the legs in the gold one, positive and negative. Okay. If we were going to build this coil, actually we would turn it around then and do the opposite side. So we'd have a coil on each side. But we're just using this to test our build. So we're looking for about 0.35 ohms. So I'm going to screw it into this little gizmo here, or a little resistance tester. And I'm going to take our coil wherever the heck I put it. I think I've lost our coil. So here's our coil. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one leg in the top and one leg in the bottom. Oh, sorry, let me get in screen here. Maybe I should zoom back out a little bit. Whoops, wrong way, sorry. I made a mistake. See how the coil comes off the top of the coil here, and it comes off the bottom of the coil on this side? Well, you want to put the one that comes off the top in the top hole, and the one that comes off the bottom in the bottom hole. So we'll go this way right here. So the one that comes off the top goes there, one that goes off the bottom. Well, that was much easier, wasn't it? Now I'm going to take a screwdriver. If I can put my hands on it, where did I put it? Right here. And I'm going to tighten this coil down so that it's sitting right above the air vent, the air hole. So you can see that. Now I'm going to turn this one around. You can use your finger to get it just to the right position. And tighten it there. So that baby is in there pretty good. Now I'm going to raise it up a little bit. Make sure that nothing except for the end leads are touching anything. We want the coil standing away from those posts. You can see that there's a little bit of space between the posts and the coil. That's exactly what we want. So now, the moment of truth. Here we go. We're going to set this to meter, and we should get about 0.35. Snap, it's 0.33, not bad. 0.33 is what we call close enough for rock and roll. Now there's one other thing that you should know about. If this were the actual atomizer that I was building, and it is not, you want to clip these ends off. And this is where these flush cutting pliers come in. You get as close as you can to the post and snip it off. Then down here, same thing. Let me pull it away a little bit. There we go. Get right in there and snip it off. Close your eyes when you snip. You don't want that thing in your eyeball. One other thing this item does is we've read the resistance to be oh, look at that, 0.35 after I cut off those ends. That's perfect, isn't it? Wango Z Tango. So I'm going to give this coil a fire. What we want to see is we want to see this coil heat up from the middle out. And it did. And it's all nice and even. You can see that glow, I assume. I assume you can see it glow, just like that. That's a beautiful thing, that coil right there. So that's it. That's all it took. And look at, we only used 1, 2, 3 tools, in fact, plus this. So easy peasy, lemon squeezy, your coil is good to go, 0.35 ohms.